Hello, welcome. This is the Daily Dharma. My name's Dina. Thanks again for those who are joining. Come on in, take a seat by the fire. Hope you enjoy. Let's get right into the code cards today. I was hearing the phrase all systems go, as if we're finding that perfect alignment, that feeling of poise, being ready but waiting for the correct opportunity, or like the break in traffic to merge, so to speak. So let's see what the code cards want to tell us today. I will say every day after the forecast is recorded, I instantly get so many extra downloads, and I wish that as we gain more of a following, I may go in and do extended to the daily dharmas so that the daily dharma would be shorter and then the extended would go into the detail. So the first one is 15, compassion. Compassion supports our ability to stand by others without judgment and to be the divine mediator between heaven and earth. We were speaking about this the other day. Between heaven and earth, spirit and matter, so that unconditional love can flow from source through our heart and out into the world. It's very beautiful. So I'm seeing the third eye as the central mandala blooming here with new messages, new insights, new truth emerging, and the heart blossoming and opening up, creating these. Yes, there's several different balls of light around the perimeter of this green image, the little white balls, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this one at the top has a different ring around it. It's almost looking like it's mimicking the central here. So a few things. Number one, it's kind of telling me about how when we are lit up and inspired, many things capture our attention, but there's usually one type of central focus, central theme, or objective or goal. And if we can streamline our momentum so that we're not running in circles trying to do 10 different things. I was telling somebody today about how I have a lot of new things coming in my life in the attempt to create balance. And this person says back to me that, yeah, you keep putting one thing on both sides of the scale, trying to create that balanced weight measure. But at some point, the scale can only take so much weight. The bearing capacity becomes stressed, and the whole thing can topple when we stretch beyond the fulcrum of our balance is when there's the greatest mass at the center. Does that make sense? How as we are centered and aligned, then the mass isn't tippy. We're not standing on tiptoe. We're not overextending and then falling forward or falling backward. We're coming from a core principle or value or theme in some circumstance or relationship here. And then the secondary part of the message here is that there's a reflection in the outer, whether that's the main goal. It's really capturing the attention. It may be the mirroring that happens with a particular other, a partner in business, a best friend, a family member, a loved one, or otherwise. Perception 35 is at the bottom of the deck, and supporting our natural curiosity, moving beyond our comfort zone to find the edges of what we perceive to be real and take a good, hard, deep look at it. So this spirit and matter, we were talking about this as a bridge a few days ago. Was it yesterday? Was it a few days? How when we are tuned into both our inner light and inner darkness, there's this fullness that happens. The moon imagery is really prominent in that, where the moon can sometimes represent the mystery, the unknown, the shadow realms, and sometimes even trickery and deception for some, but it's a very feminine and pure potentiality energy where if we take that and put that in the context of our own self, the sun is the side that we show, the side that everyone sees because it's in the light. It's what we project and promote. But then the shadowy moon realms are more the subconscious, the urges, the unspoken, the unseen, and sometimes that shadow, the what lies behind the mask. You know, it's easy to say that that boss was a narcissist, for instance, but do we actually take into considerations all of the stresses and the things that this individual as a human is dealing with? I mean, there are narcissists. I'm not saying that there are not, but we've been all raised in a narcissistic paradigm, and there are going to be resonances that trigger us as either being the victim or the one who has to struggle, coming through with more compassion in this way, not jumping to stereotype or label or categorize people and circumstances, can allow us to see what is the value. If we're stuck in a situation with a middle manager that's a narcissist or shows those tendencies, is there a way to um, garner more compassion from that individual, or to show them more compassion without feeding into the toxic paradigm of the empath trying to please and accommodate toxicity, but to rise above it in a new way. So, yeah, do we? Okay, moving on. All right, 11, belief. Supporting our self-worth based upon our gifts and talents and a strong connection to source. This is reminding me of something that was also going on in my own life, and this is just a symbol for yourself, but where I was facing a new circumstance and wanting to do well, and uh, based on an attitude or mood of the moment, I saw myself perceiving others as not doing their part as well. It was as though the ego side wants to jump up to our defense and say, oh, well, this circumstance was a block for me, or, well, I was up against this. But when we can stop projecting that outward, that overextension of, well, I'm not as good as I should be because of this, we're as good as we are supposed to be. And so there's nothing to project. And that's not everybody's thing, but it might come through in a different way. Our self-worth can interfere with our ability to connect, to be open from the heart space, to show compassion. Do we believe that we are wounded? Do we believe that we are a victim? Or do we believe that we are always achieving little bits by little bits? We're always moving forward in some type of way. Even if we're taking a step back, it's just to take a moment to pan out from the details to get a bigger picture. It's like as if to tap the brakes and say, okay, whoa, let me take this in a moment. Tantric journey showing itself again. So this is a very it's talking about the sacred body and how it is enlivened and activated by energetic means. And in this case, we're talking about how the root, the base chakra, and our connection to the very earth itself and to the physicality and the third dimension, etc., is rising up from the supposed below and coming up through us. And then also the divine, the inspiration, and the perceptions and beliefs are coming through and hopefully meeting somewhere around the heart chakra, which is creating that compassion. And it's also that blending of the sun and the moon, the above and the below. And in that moment where that's the moment, I just said that again, okay. Sorry to be so caught up in the messages, but sometimes I just speak without thinking in advance. And so this has been another thing that's been coming up. It's that the moment of impact, the moment of the neural and synaptic bridge, the moment of the sun and the moon connecting, and the moment of the above and the below mixing in the heart space creates the necessary torque to spin and to create that perfect spin ratio that helps us to move away from what has been pulling us down with heaviness energy, and is helping us to lift ourselves back up out of this and to recognize clearly where those beliefs are needing to adjust, and where they have adjusted, where we are pushing through. Having compassion for ourselves is perhaps one of the best perceptions for having compassion with others. We can only meet others and have compassion for them to the extent that we have for ourselves. And this might be other individuals not having compassion for you because they're hard on themselves. And what a sad, miserable existence that would be. And we don't need to join them there, correct? So if you're dealing with someone who tends that way, don't join them in that energy. Do your best to concentrate on where your opportunities and your control does lie. Do the best that you can do to move yourself forward with authority, clarity and authority. Yes, you don't want them to walk into the room and be the dominant energy where everybody starts putting your head down and being afraid to be the one called to attention or called into the principal's office or whatnot. Authority is someone who understands their placement in things. And even if someone is storming around, that there is still enough energy within the core, within the center of the self, that inner spark, inner flame is trusted and believed in to such an extent that another cannot detract from you. They cannot come in and burst your bubble. They can't come in and tell you you haven't done something correctly. You don't need to fight with them. You know what you've done, right? The frequency of authority reminds us that true authority is powerful, directed, and realized, yet at the same time receptive, wise, and loving. It goes so perfectly with compassion here. So there's something physically shifting and shaping our actual physicality that's imperceptible to us because we're looking at it every day, but to others that only see us periodically, I do believe that there are exponential shifts and changes in demeanor, mood, the spark, the fire, the movement, the flow, the confidence. So trust that this is at play within your own life, if that's been a question. Communication, I believe this is stepping forward with something, whether it's you taking back your power in some situation where another lower energy has tended to take the spotlight. Your ability, nonverbal or verbal, or even telepathic energy work behind the scenes can influence this. The frequency of communication supports our ability to exchange information in many different forms. It reminds us to run every piece of information, both incoming and outgoing, through our heart, the center of our truth, to stay in the flow of source and balanced exchange. For instance, I'll just share one more piece about that thing last night. It's a martial arts class that I'm taking, and I'd love to say that I'm an expert, but I've switched disciplines. And so now I'm a novice again. It's something that I thought I had figured out. And so there's a younger individual there, and I had the impulse to share and to tweak and assist them at honing their skill. And I witnessed from my centered core that this individual was feeling frustrated, like they weren't doing good, because their perception is I'm better and I'm criticizing. And so then I started noticing instead what they were doing right. that was great power, that was great accuracy, you're getting better every day. Or wow, that was good, this was nice, that's improved, I like the way you did that. Or asking for their advice, how do you such and such, there's all these different things that can ground the situation. And uh, no one likes to coddle and accommodate a brat or a narcissist, just to use that tagline. Um, oh, but there's something healing about that for ourselves as well, to handle it in a new manner with our own authority, putting them in proper order, just like filing yesterday. We were talking about putting things in order, putting things in a file. It's like, now that I've seen this paradigm, the good ones, the toxic ones, the in-between ones, the wounded people that don't understand how to come to greater awareness or how to fix what hurts in them. There's a way that we're shifting this dynamic. Frequency of Earth connects our deep connection to this physical plane by showing us the beauty of all of the aspects of our Great Mother and revealing the more ethereal, spiritual aspects of our nature. It allows us to see them with that compassion, and to recognize that we all have those shadowy aspects that are coming to the forefront so that we can work collectively with synergy. And it was the synergy card in the code cards, number 41, that flipped when I heard that all systems go. Ready, waiting, aligned. So there's an opportunity coming in disguise. The riddle card came out a few days ago, and I laughed because often I feel like Spirit can be very clear and concise, but there's other times where I'm very resistant. I'm very stubborn in my human nature and in my ego, where I think I know better, and I want to bargain and debate it out with Spirit. And Spirit will sometimes try to skip that by creating some type of weird riddle or magic or something that's like, what the heck are you trying to point out to me, Spirit, or God, universe, whatever you believe. We get the Village. Something being laid to rest, perhaps. This old karmic cycle is being spiraled out of. Something's being recycled, composted. And we've seen a lot of mountains recently. It's like the dawn of a new day, and the mountain has been traversed. We've gone up and over the mountain, and it seems like we've, in this depiction, withdrawn from the village. This is, let me see, 41. Oh, 41. Synergy. Okay. And we've got 42 is Tantric Journey here. We've got the 10, 11. That's interesting. So it seems like it takes the village to eradicate the healing and to lay it all to rest, to be able to see that even the wounded people, if they were to really get to know us and us to know them, we would see what connects us more than what divides us. The earth element here is like that deep tantric energy that comes from the earth, is that Shakti energy, that divine feminine energy that is very, very connected to both earth and water elements, and governing the sacred flow and creation and fertilization cycles. And the village is so interconnected with our ability to, I'm seeing a steering wheel, to grab the wheel of life and steer ourselves clearly out of here. And sometimes I see this also as like the propeller of one of those old planes that used to have to be not kick-started, but like thrown down to create the momentum. So it's like at first we have to push and effort to get something going, but once it's going, then the engine can start to pick up and recycle the energy itself. I'm seeing that with this perception card too. Do you see how those static propellers are now turning? There's something beginning to take shape and turn in our lives. Oh, that's so beautiful. The ocean. So we've got earth and ocean. We're talking very much about feminine energy, using the heart space uh, with um, with the ability that by us taking charge of a situation, perhaps even sharing our beliefs that, every day we get up and we're doing it. Every day that's a success. We're up, we're at it, we're doing it. We've fallen on hard times and we keep getting back up. We're doing the damn thing, right? So the ocean is like we are a drop in the ocean. It's a vast collective psychic ocean, and we're all connected to the earth and the ocean through that feminine, intuitive, instinctual, like dust to dust. We are all particles. We're all the same, right? There, I think you guys understand what I'm getting at with that. How the ocean just talks about how we're both immersed in and trying to differentiate from what is largely one mass, different facets of one gem. One sparkles and the other is in the shadow, and then it keeps changing. Okay, this came out in the pre-shuffle too. Thanatos is talking about the cycle of death, and I saw that with the village card here. Something is being laid to rest. There is an ending of a way of being, or the healing journey. It's like we have already crossed the threshold of the mountain. Was it yesterday that we saw the person on the top of the mountain going like this? It was like success, achievement. We're at the summit, and then from that rising up, from that panning out, we're able to survey the landscape. um, Maybe there's some literal thing where you're standing on some type of a bridge and overlooking a town or a vista or nature in itself, but there's the idea of um, that we're very connected to the wheel of life and to the web of life. We're all spinning into it, but there's hands doing a passing off at the center of this. And earlier I was seeing it as though it's a dragon behind here, which it is the year of the dragon. We talked briefly about that. It's like I feel that because of our engagement, because of our intentions and our preparedness and our willingness to serve and to continue to reinforce our own highest, best interest in light of the best interest of all, we are nearing the center of some type of a web, which sounds creepy and sticky and manipulative, but there are ways that we can manipulate for the highest possible good. And I get this often with the shapeshifter card, where some people see this as the trickster energy on the low side, where people are manipulating for their personal gain at our expense. But the shapeshifter in the empathic light worker form can work for the highest good, as we can see by every time that there's a tiny little strumming of the karmic dharmic strings of the web. The spider is so highly attuned. That's a sacred chord. It tells me to go this way. That one tells me to go this way. This way is the meal. This way is the wind. Which way do I go? There's these signs and synchronicities, and when we are in tune with all of those various spectrum, above, below, inner, outer, all converging, the convergence at the core, that unity consciousness that is uplifting our belief structure, is liberating us to be able to be the conductor of the sacred symphony of the fields that we're tending. As we uplift, our responsibility to the below increases in a way, and mirrored in that way. How am I doing on time? Looks like the 20s yet. I gotta round this out. But if you can follow that, each leg of the web has a specific chord, and as we hear others strumming their song, we can identify that's pain, this is happiness, this is anxiety, this is stress, this is lack of love, this is an abusive home life that this person is then coming here where they actually have this much control, and then they're letting their shit run downhill, right? So we don't need to make it about us. We don't need to make it about them. We can understand, and we can now use our authority to ascend the podium, to get their attention. Tap, tap, tap. Now we play my sacred song into, well, the song of unity, harmonic octaves. Everyone can't play one line. We harmonize for a reason. We're at different points in time because of this sacred vibrational necessity of what is being put into creation at all times. One more card out of this deck. The sword, being able to slice through the light and the dark. Do you see the balancing forces of light and dark above and below? And using our sword not to wound and to cut and sever, but to cleanse and clear and protect and, to harvest. There are many things the sword can do. So today I am going to skip the shamanic deck because that honestly will send me into too much, and then we will be out of time. I'm going to get us one more card if I can from the Mixed Pali Kuan Yin deck. And maybe I'll do a second reading today too if I can gain the time. What wants to come out? There it is. Okay, this is number 12, Kali Yantra. I love this. It's the root chakra is depicted here, which is our connection to Mother Earth, among other things. The connection to the seat of our Kundalini life force energy is said to lie coiled like a serpent at the base of the spine. And in the unhealthy ways that it can generate in our lives, we might deal with power and control, addiction, feeling displaced, aloof, isolated, separated. But in the healthy way, we can understand that the lifeblood of Mother Earth is not as physical as it is passively, just actively passively. Contradictions. It's part of us. It is part of our blood, part of the water in our system is the ocean contained within us, the soil, the carbon, the fibers, the molecules. It's the dance of sacred earth energy flowing through us at all times. And this is talking about prayer to me, and getting out those prayer beads and being able to give some type of reverence for the path that we're on, and being so grateful and blessed for where we find ourselves because we are perfectly poised. I'll just read a bit if I can. She is your inner power to evoke a positive shift in your circumstances. If anything is required for success, if anything should be lacking, the Divine Mother shall provide it, bridging the divide between you and the manifestation of your intentions, between spirit and matter. You are crossing a critical spiritual threshold. She is the true guardian and guide. Stay focused on what matters in your heart, and you shall remain faithfully connected to her protective presence within. Allow distractions to fall away and continue to commit to your soul journey. A more beautiful experience of your life path awaits. I love it. I hope that gave you some insight and direction into your present autumn harvest and sweeping Sister Willow. There's some self-forgiveness and shedding layers that has continued to happen. Music might be very important for you right now, but definitely try to get in your whatever affirmations or self work that helps you to step into those situations that challenge you with newfound authority, with poise and gentle authority. You don't need to come in with your sword out. All you need to do is be psychically armored with self belief and a strong, developed core. So the way you show up is powerful. I'm pulling for you, and so is the universe. Take care of you, and check back again later on. See what else we have to share. Take care.